To hear me? I got confirmation that it's working. We'll get started here in just a little bit. Well, I have 7 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brad Bergstrom, and I'm lucky enough to be the superintendent here for Sauk Rapids Rice Public Schools. And I want to welcome you to this Wednesday, February 2nd, Facebook Live session. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to be here. For those who are joining for the first time, welcome. Thank you. And for those who have seen these before, thanks for coming back. We greatly appreciate it. I want to start by just a gentle reminder of kind of what the purpose of these Facebook Live meetings are for and about. So the purpose of these meetings is really for me to be able to share some information with you about what's going on in the district. But just as important is an opportunity for you to ask me questions about things that are going on in the district. So how do you ask the questions? The process we have in place is that if you want to ask me a question, please type it into the comment section. I've got 2 amazing people here who will be watching the comment section and will take those questions, put them onto a post-it for me. You'll see me periodically step out on the screen, and I'll grab those post-its and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. If I am unable to answer the question, I will let you know that and then try to come back the next time we have one. We've been doing these monthly as of late with an answer. And if we don't get to all of the questions, I certainly will. We're keeping track of those, and we'll try to answer those in our frequently asked questions document. So again, the purpose for this is really for me to share some information with you about what's going on in our amazing district, but also for you to be able to ask me some questions. A couple of housekeeping items. Again, put those questions in the comment section. And we've been doing a really good job of this the last couple of meetings, and I really want to say thank you. And what I'm talking about is that this is not designed as a place for people to air their grievances about what's either being said by me or what the district is doing. There are plenty of sites that are out there that you can go ahead and access if you want to share your thoughts with that, or better yet, feel free to pick up the phone and give me a call. I'd be more than happy to try and answer those questions that you might have. But please know that this is a school district site, and we really want to keep it to a space where people are allowed to ask questions. Had been getting some feedback prior to the first of the year that people were staying away from Facebook Live because there was people that were saying things that were just not appropriate during these Facebook Live meetings. So again, if we can stay away from that, there's plenty of places for you to do that. Feel free to utilize those. Feel free to give me a call. I'd be more than happy to work through whatever concerns that you might have. And know that the comment section is for questions. And again, look forward to getting your questions and trying to answer them for you here tonight. Your help with this would be greatly appreciated. At this time, I haven't been getting a lot of questions in regards to some specific pieces, so I'm gonna, as I'm waiting for people to ask questions, I thought I'd jump in with a couple of things that to begin with to make you aware of. And I'm going to start with kindergarten roundup. The class of 2035 will be starting kindergarten next year, and as a part of this process, there's a registration piece, and as well there's a kindergarten roundup that we do. The registration is now currently open, and if you want to go online to do that, you certainly can. It's www.isd.47.org, and then use the backslash. And I just want to make sure that I look at this right here to make sure that I get the address right, and that is /academics /kindergarten. So again, www.isd.47.org /academics /kindergarten, and you can certainly go through that process of registering your child, or you can do it at Kindergarten Roundup. And Kindergarten Roundup this year is going to be on Monday, February 22nd is going to be kindergarten roundup. Let me double check that here, just to make sure I got this right. Excuse me, February 28th, 2022. So that's Monday, February 28th, 2022. Got it wrong here on my information sheet. I'll just fix that for myself. And again, you can also register your child at that time. We have sent out letters to potential kindergarten families. And if you know of somebody, or if you yourself have a kindergarten age child and you did not get the letter, please reach out to us and we'll be sure and get one for you. Again, we get this information from the census count, and while not 100% accurate, we do want to make sure that people who are eligible to have their children come to kindergarten get the letter, get the information, and participate in kindergarten roundup. And again, that's on Monday, February 28th, 2022. We're looking forward to starting with the class of 2035 come the fall of 2022. So again, kindergarten registration is now open, kindergarten roundup on Monday, February 28th. The next item that I would like to talk with you about is that while we are recommending face coverings in all of our buildings, there is a requirement for face coverings on our school bus transportation. So just a gentle reminder for families to talk with their students. If you are riding a school bus, which we have that service and love to have kids on there, that when you get on the bus, it'd be nice if you brought a face covering, but if you forget one, we will certainly provide one. And while on the bus, it is a requirement that you have to wear a face covering. And your help with that would be greatly appreciated. Our drivers have a lot of responsibilities. When they come to a stop, they got to make sure that students are safe to get on the bus. They got to be watching what's going on around them. And then they also have to make sure that the students who are getting on the bus are equipped with a face covering. And that's a lot going on all at one time. So again, if you ride the bus, wear a face covering. If you don't have one, we'll certainly provide one for you, but it is a requirement. And your help with that is greatly appreciated, because when people are not having a face covering, it just delays the stop, because we've got to hand one to the students, etc. And if you're at the end of the line, that the delay of 30 seconds to a minute at each stop winds up being a significant amount of time, and we want to keep our bus routes running on time as much as we possibly can. So again, face coverings are required when you're on school buses or school bus transportation or school transportation, including vans, for their transporting students for school purposes. So again, that face covering is a requirement. Looking at not seeing any questions yet, so I'm going to jump into a couple other items here. A couple of weeks ago, we sent out some information to you in regards to free at-home COVID-19 testing, and that's being made available by the federal government. And you can get up to 4 tests that you can place an order for. You get 4 at one time, and they can be sent to your location. It's the link for it is www.covettest.gov, and there's a backslash with that. Again, it came out on our top 3 for January 21st, and it's pretty simple. Click on that link, go to the testing piece, you put in your name and your address, and they'll be sent to you. And again, there's no charge for that, and it's up to 4 tests that you can place with your order. And the last I heard is that they're looking at those coming in 7 to 12 days. I placed an order right away, and I think I'm on day number 10 or 11. I still haven't gotten mine yet, but just know that there could be a delay, but they're talking 7 to 12 days. So again, up to 4 free tests, at-home tests, can be ordered per person, and that link again is www.covettest.gov. I got some questions here, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the first question here is the district considering accepting at-home COVID test results? And the answer to that question is yes and no. That seems to be the way of COVID these days, right? The answer is we are currently accepting them as a positive test. Okay, so if somebody takes an at-home test and they've tested positive, certainly the school district will take that as test results. The negative piece, the answer is no, because we do not know for sure who is taking the test. And so that's why we're asking for a lab-confirmed PCR test that has a student's name and has their birth date on it, so we know exactly who took that test. We can accept the tests if the test is for positive. I'm not sure that anybody would report positive just because, but at the end of the day, we will accept those and we'll get that information recorded, but we cannot for a negative because we are not seeing who is taking the test. This next question here, are there any discussions about prom, specifically mitigation strategies? At this point, I will be very candid with you. There's been no conversations about prom. That is, 3.5 months away, and a lot can happen in that time period. If things are looking good, our mitigation strategies will continue to be where they're at, and we'll try to make it be the safest event possible. But at this point, we have not had any conversations, at least from a district level, about prom. But when that conversation begins to happen, the safety of our students and making sure that we do everything possible to keep them safe will certainly be paramount and at the top of the list for us. So the next question I have here is, will the loss of enrollment affect the school budget? And I think any school district, whether it's pre-COVID, during COVID, once we begin to manage this as a community better as we roll down the road, anytime you're talking about loss of enrollment, of course, it's going to have an impact on the budget. We know that historically, from the beginning of the school year to the end of the school year, it's not uncommon to see some drops in enrollment. What we have been talking about at the board level and have been sharing is the fact that in the last 4 years, we have seen a steady decline in enrollment in our district. And that decline in enrollment obviously has an impact on our ability to maintain a budget and to meet the needs, because we get funding based upon the number of students. So at the end of the day, even in years pre-COVID, not unusual to see some drop from beginning of year to end of year, in particularly at the secondary level, and specifically at the high school level. Not uncommon to see some drop, but we have been experiencing a decline in enrollment for the last 4 years. I think we, if my memory serves me correct, we're down about 244 kids. And what's significant with that is we are also seeing a leveling off of enrollment internal. With enrollment and having capped enrollment, there was some anticipation that as time goes along, that number is going to drop. But what we're seeing that's significant is the enrollment of our residential students, and that is of concern to us, and we'll continue to monitor that very closely. So the next question I have here is that the MyStop app stopped working this past week for a couple of people. I was not aware that that was the case. I will certainly look into that first thing tomorrow morning. I know that MyStop app is used by a lot of families, and so I'm going to make a note to check in with transportation and see where that is at. I was unaware that that had stopped working, so thank you very much for letting me know that. So the next question here is, what data is being aggregated into the COVID dashboard case numbers? Is it just online self-reporting tool, or does it include reports to office staff? So when we are putting our numbers out there for the community to see, and we include the numbers of students and the numbers of staff, and then we have a breakdown for students by building, that is reported to us, phone calls, emails that come into us from families. And it is also the online piece. So it's any time that it's reported to us That is the process that's used. And I would say for a vast majority of schools that is the process. So it's not just the online tool. That online reporting tool is really designed to help families so that if they get a test result and it's after school hours, they don't have to try to figure out how am I going to call the school and let them know. They can go to that and they can access it and send it in, and we have people look at it first thing in the morning so we know where things are at with that. So the online tool is really just another way other than to use the normal protocols of phone calls and emails that we normally get that when families let us know that their child is going to be out because they have tested positive for COVID. So again, those numbers are not just what's reported online, but all of the information that we get. And I believe that to be pretty the same process they're used with many of the districts across the region. So the next question here is, where do we locate current COVID numbers for district and schools? So if you go to our website, www.isd.47 or isd47.org, if you open up that and you scroll about halfway down the page, there is a tab that says COVID-19 information. I think it says information. If you click on that icon, it will open up to our COVID-19 information. Scroll down there a little bit, and the first piece that you will see is our 1 week totals that we have for numbers of staff and numbers of students who have tested positive in the last 7 days. And just as a gentle reminder, our reporting period is Thursday through the following Wednesday. So it's 7 days, but it is Thursday through the following Wednesday. And part of the reason we picked that time period for the week is that our COVID incident management team meets on Thursdays, and we wanted to have those numbers available for us as we have our discussions in terms of how things are going in the district, what might be some areas we need to address, and what things are working well for us. So that's where you will find those. Those are updated each Friday. So this coming Friday, you will see the numbers for today going backwards through last Thursday. So again, it's Thursday to Wednesday. The numbers are entered in on Friday, and it's located on our webpage, www.isd47.org. Click on COVID-19 information, scroll down just a little bit, and you should be able to find those numbers. You'll also find our safe learning plan there, and you'll also find our matrix there as well. So the next question is, does enrollment of residential student drop mean they might be opening enrollment elsewhere? There is certainly some of that's happening, but we are also seeing that there's not as many students that are coming in. We have a graduating class that's leaving, and we're not seeing as much family enrollment coming into our community. So again, some of it could be open enrollment, some of it could be enrollment into a private school or an online school, but again, it's not a one specific piece that's impacting our enrollment, but rather a number of different factors. And again, the biggest piece for us is to make sure that there's opportunities for us to have conversations with families if they're choosing not to enroll, and find out a little bit more about that, and hopefully answer any questions that they might have. So again, enrollment dropping is not a one cause piece. There's a number of different factors that are impacting that, including the fact that we're not having as many families move into the city of Sauk Rapids. All right, the next piece that I would like to talk with you about, I'm looking at my notes here just a little bit, is I would like to talk with you a little bit about the concept of school delays and closures. This winter has seen us have a number of days that have been, let's just say that they've been relatively cold. And there's a couple of pieces that I want to really touch on with this when it comes to weather. The first piece is that, I get asked all the time, Superintendent Bergstrom, what is the threshold? What's that line in the sand? And what I'll share with you is no matter where that line is at, there's always things that are going to be close to it. So the threshold for me is 35 below, whether that be raw temperature or that be with the wind chill. As of late, it has been the wind chill. And that becomes our starting point for looking at where things are going to be at. And if the wind chill for us here in Benton County, or specifically with Sauk Rapids, is going to put us into a wind chill advisory, that might mean that we're going to still keep going. If it's going to put us into a wind chill warning, we're going to take a look and we may do an adjustment. I think it was last week we did an adjustment one day where we had a 2-hour late start. The idea is I want kids in school, want it done safely, and at the end of the day, 35 below is the threshold where we start. The biggest piece is where's the wind at and where is that going? Now, I've been asked this question, well, Superintendent Bergstrom, 35 below, that's pretty cold for those kids on a bus. When it comes, 35 below is cold, don't get me wrong, but we're talking about wind chill. It's not impacting the bus, and the students that are on the bus, they're staying on the wind. What I think about and get concerned about is, students that have to walk to school. And while we have some kids who walk, we don't have a lot of them. Other districts have more than what we do. But we got to be careful for those students who are walking. And the other piece is for the students who are waiting for the bus. Now, earlier in this presentation, I talked with you a little bit about the importance of having students having that face covering and getting on the bus for the timeliness of it, and that's exactly what I'm getting at. We set times for the buses to run, and if everybody's ready and they're on the bus and doing what they're supposed to be doing, we stay on time, which is very helpful for us. If we know that a bus is going to be more than 20 minutes late, we have a process in place where we do notify the people on that route so that they will know that the bus is running more than 20 minutes late. But again, at the end of the day, our threshold is minus 35, and then we'll see where it takes us from there. The other component with this that I've been asked a few questions about, it really has to do with the fact of, well, I thought Sauk Rapids and Sartell and St. Cloud always go together. And as often as we possibly can, we are certainly trying to do that. But there are things that come into play that we didn't necessarily think about, and I'll give you the example, is that I believe it was last week, it could have been the week before, but both Sartell and Sauk Rapids Rice had school, St. Cloud did not. Now, part of it for St. Cloud had to do with the cold, but the other part of it is that they had a bus driver shortage. And if another district has a bus driver shortage, I'm not going to cancel school for our kids if we can run and we don't have that issue. Now, there may come a day when there is an issue with us for bus drivers. As you are well aware, around the state, that's been one of the things that have been talked about for a period of time now about the shortage with bus drivers. But those kinds of things are going to move us in a different direction. So we really want to, when weather starts to get cold, that when you're looking at, well, what we're going to do as a school, just because you see one school between Sartell, St. Cloud, and Sauk Rapids Rice does not mean that we're all going to be doing the same. Again, as much as possible, we will, but there are going to be times when we're going to operate differently. And again, it's really designed to, there might be those individual circumstances that cause a district to close, and one or two of the others might be able to make it work, and we will. And finally, what I'll point out to parents is this, is that at the end of the day, if you as a parent or guardian feel that the conditions are unsafe to put your child into a bus or to send them to school, that is certainly your choice to make, and we will respect that. We will ask that you call and let us know that because of the conditions, you're not going to be sending your child to school. But please know that we will respect that decision if it's due to the safety, if you feel that it's unsafe. And again, at the end of the day, that is your choice. We've got a question here. So the next question is, who sets bus pickup times? Ours is 6:30 a.m. and we live in city limits. That is set by the bus company, and fortunately, unfortunately, I'm not sure how this fits into this, but I spent some time as a transportation director in my earlier days when I first got into education, and it was a very small district. But the setting of bus times is not as simple as, well, I want this time for here and I want this time for there. It's really about how many kids are going to be riding the bus, how many routes do we need to have, and that dictates what time the routes are going to start. Sometimes people who live close might have a later pickup time. Sometimes people who live close might have an earlier pickup time. It's really dependent upon how many routes, how many kids, and we try to be, actually I say we, the bus company tries to be as efficient as they possibly can in order to maximize the number of students onto a bus and to do so safely. So I understand that sometimes the pickup time is a little bit early, but at the end of the day, it is really part of a big puzzle that tries to maximize the number of students onto a bus and run those times in the most efficient way as possible. And sometimes that will mean that people have an earlier start than what they would like, but it allows, in the big system, it allows us to get kids to their schools in a timely fashion. The other thing we need to remember is that we run 2 tiers of busing. So what we do in the morning is we run and we pick up our elementary students first, drop them off, and then we go pick up our secondary kids and the students at Rice. And so because we run this 2-tiered system, it does mean that starting times might be a little earlier than what one might expect. It's just to make sure that we can get the kids there and then go get our second tier of kids, because our elementary schools start earlier than our secondary kids. The next question here is, would the district ever work with St. Cloud and Sartell for calendars to be similar? That's a great question, and again, at face value, that sounds like, well, why can't we do that? And there's 2 reasons why that probably will not happen. It's not because we wouldn't want to. The biggest reason has to do with contracts. Not all contracts for the various bargaining groups are exactly the same, and so there's some intricacies within each one of them that might prevent that from happening. And number 2 is that each community has some values in terms of where things are, what's important to them. For some districts, having a set-aside time for spring break is really important, and in other districts, it is not. They'd rather see smaller chunks of time spread out over the course of the year. So between contracts and what a community values in their schedule, I just don't think that is ever going to be something that might happen. Start date is something that a lot of districts have as the same, because by state statute you have to start after Labor Day unless you have over $400,000 worth of construction projects that you're doing. For the most part, almost every district starts, a majority of districts start that Tuesday after Labor Day. The end, that's where things tend to get a little bit different, and so that's why I don't think calendars will be the same. So the next question here is, do you still keep kids inside for recess if temp is below 10 degrees? And the answer to that question is that there's a threshold that we have. I don't know exactly what that is. I will certainly check with the principals. But 10 degrees above 0 may not be that threshold. It might be 10 below with the wind chill. The key piece to remember with this is that we want to make sure that we get kids their time for recess, and obviously outside is where we want them to be, but we also want to make sure that it's safe. Before I was fortunate enough to land here in Sauk Rapids Rice, the district that I worked in, which was up in northwest Minnesota, we had multiple weeks where it was way too cold to have kids go outside for recess. And that's hard on kids and it's hard on adults. So again, check with your child's building to see where that threshold is at. I don't think it's 10 degrees above zero. I do think it's probably 10 degrees below zero with the wind chill, but we'll do some more checking with that. As I am waiting for some more questions to come, please feel free again to, if you have any questions, go ahead and type it into the comment section, and I'll try to get those questions answered for you. I want to just take a pause here and share something that I think is something that is important. On Monday, we learned that there was a school shooting incident not too far from us. In fact, it was at the South Education Center in Richfield, and unfortunately, as a part of this process, there was a student that lost their life, and another one that last I heard was wounded and was in the hospital. There are been a couple of people that have been arrested in regards to this, and it's one of those things that as a school superintendent, it's something that you certainly think about. You don't want to have happen. You want to make sure that everybody is safe. But I bring this up for a couple of reasons. One is please keep your thoughts and prayers with those who are being impacted by this in the Richfield School District, in that intermediate district. There's a trauma associated with that, and it is also something that will impact them for the foreseeable future. The other reason why I bring this up is just to make sure that we're watching out and making sure our children are being taken care of. Trauma impacts children very differently. Know that it is okay to talk with your children, age appropriate of course, with what happened in Richfield, and it's okay for them to ask questions. It's also okay not to have that conversation if you're not comfortable. Know that we have counselors and we have social workers, and our staff are there to help. If you think that your child is having some concerns or some issues with this, please reach out to us. We want to make sure that our children are feeling safe about coming to school. And I think the other reason why I bring this up is really to talk about the importance of why we practice drills, and whether it be a fire drill or whether it be our take cover drills. We want to make sure that we practice those so we know what to do in case there is something that happens. Pray every day that doesn't happen. It is something that is really difficult for a community, and so at the end of the day, we hope that this doesn't happen, but it is important that we practice it. The other thing that I think is that I should probably touch on a little bit with this is the importance of see something, say something. And our greatest asset that we have is our children and our parents, that if they see something that just doesn't seem right, to let somebody know. And so if you have reason to be concerned, if you see something, whether it be in social media or your children are talking about something, please reach out to a teacher, please reach out to an administrator. Let us know what's going on, because we want to make sure that if there is somebody that's struggling, or if there is a need to provide some support or some structure for somebody, that we're there to help them so that we can keep everybody safe. Again, thoughts and prayers go out to the school district in Richfield and the South Education Center staff and students, as I'm sure this last 48 hours has been something for them that has been traumatic, to say the least. So the next question here is, what will graduation look like for families to attend, aunts, uncles? Much like the prom question, I will tell you at this point that is far down the road yet. Our hope would be that we could have and I'll use this in quotation marks, a normal graduation, and not have limitations in regards to how many people can attend. But that will be really determined by how are things going in our community. Last year, we were actually able to have graduation. If you remember to the spring of 2020, graduation was completely different. We were actually able last year to hold it. We had it at the National Hockey Center at St. Cloud State. Great venue. Appreciative to those folks for allowing us to utilize that facility to have our graduation. But graduation will be determined by how we're doing as a community, and is it going to be safe to have people in large groups there. So time will tell with that. The next question I asked is, would school ever start the school day later and end later? And the answer to that question is probably not. And the reason why I say that is that when you get later into the day, several things start to happen. It particularly for our students who are engaged and involved in activities, you start moving the school day to ending at 4:30, 5 o'clock, so you can have a little later start in the morning. Now all of a sudden those activities that were getting done at 7:30, 8 o'clock are now being done at 9:30, 10 o'clock. And so it's a give on each end of that. And so at this time, that is not something that we're having conversations about. But as we continue to look at how we do school, and as we continue to look at how do we manage school during in a pandemic, could that be something that becomes a topic of conversation? It certainly could be, but at this point in time, we'll be staying with where our current times are at. Oh, one of my favorite topics to talk about. Great question, thank you. An update on PV. Love seeing the progress. As we are working our way through this pandemic, and it's been almost 2 years that we've been living with this, we've learned a lot. We've gained a lot of knowledge. We're doing things that to the best of our ability to keep our staff and keep our students safe and keep students in school. The one consistent since I've been here has really been this conversation about PV, and we are very excited about it. We've been doing monthly updates and with the drone and showing the progress from the outside. And I'm going to turn because I can't remember the name of the site that they can go look at the drone pictures. On the website? Okay, so it's on our website. One Storm, One Future. That's the name I couldn't think of. And that's where those videos are at. And it's really kind of neat to take a look at the very first one when the site was just prepped, and then now to see where that progress is at. And as we look for the upcoming months, we're now going to start to take a look at doing some things so you can see the progress that's happening on the inside. So the outside, we'll see there's brick, we'll see that there's windows, and there's still some areas of plastic, but more and more being enclosed. So even during the winter months, there's been work that's been going on inside of those buildings. Walls are going up, insulation is going in, electrical's being done, plumbing's being done, sheetrock is being hung. As a matter of fact, I just got a picture today. There's actually some painting that's beginning to take place in some of the rooms where they've been sheetrocked and taped and mudded. So it is really exciting, and there will be a point in time where we'll be doing some open houses, probably after the school year gets started, so that people can have a chance to see this amazing new building and what it's going to look like. And what a wonderful opportunity that our community has provided for our students that will be attending PV. And so again, One Storm, One Future, you will be able to see some of the updates and look for, in the coming months, the updates to move from what's going on the outside of the building to seeing more about what's going on the inside of the buildings, and beginning to see classrooms and beginning to see areas that will be utilized by our faculty and by our students. And we are really looking forward to opening up that new building in August of 22, and we are still on track to make that happen. As I'm waiting for some additional questions here, I think I've gotten through all of the items that I want to make sure that I get through to with everybody here. I'm just going to do one quick last little check here to make sure I've got this right. And it looks like I've got through everything that I need to get through. I'm not seeing any other questions at this time. So with that, I'm going to say again, thank you for joining me here tonight. Really appreciated the opportunity to try and answer some of the questions that you had. Our next session is going to be in March, and that will be Wednesday, March 2nd at 7 o'clock. And until then, have a great rest of your evening. Take care and go Storm.